Hey there. Oh, we got the wrong, sorry, background. There we go. You can see that. Hey, it's Kat with Stand Out and Grow podcast, live podcast. And thank you for joining me this week, 2 weeks before Christmas, right? Oh my God, year's almost going away. I'm excited to have my guest today, Sonya Shelton. She is the founder of Executive Leadership Consulting. And her focus today is going to be on your understanding and your mission and your why, and how do you apply that to the culture that you're in, and have it fit so that it all aligns. So I'm super, super excited to bring Sonya in. So without further ado, before I do bring her in, make sure if you are watching me live, please drop a comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you have a question, please drop in a comment, because Sonya's here. This should be an interactive conversation, and we would love to hear your comments and any feedback that you have. So, hey, Sonya, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Kat. I'm excited for our conversation today.
Yeah, I love your poinsettia that's in the back. I have a bunch in my house too.
Thank you. Getting ready for the holidays.
That's right. That's right. If you could start by giving my audience a little background about, how did you become an entrepreneur and what it is that you're doing?
Yes, absolutely. So, executive leadership consulting, we work with companies at various levels, whether it's the individual level, the team level, or the company level, and helping them create their purpose or their why, as you mentioned, and then connecting that to everything that they do in their business.
Okay.
So, we call that red thread leadership.
Okay.
And I started because prior to starting the company, I was the head of internal communications at the Walt Disney Company. And I was there at a very interesting time where no one in my position had ever experienced what I experienced, and no one in that position will ever experience what I experienced. We had a member of the Disney family, Roy Disney, leading a shareholder revolt against our CEO at the time, Michael Eisner. So
Wow.
imagine
That
it is
was
a
big.
Yes. So imagine it's a company that's known for having a tremendous culture, so the
Yeah.
best of the best, but also experiencing the worst of the worst, right? So it's like a company going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And my job as internal communications was trying to keep people focused. Remember, it's a good company to work for. And I just saw the impact on my own leadership and also the broader culture, and started to really explore. First of all, had tremendous empathy for leaders, because I saw the impact on me, but then also really see the impact of culture, the best of the best. And then my experience, I think, was the worst of the worst.
Oh,
Um,
no.
so so it really made me realize that I could have an impact through culture. And I decided to leave Disney because I also saw that I could have a bigger impact outside of the organization that I could inside the organization.
Yeah. And I would say that not very many people probably experience what you experienced. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that was pretty dramatic and big. So I think the learnings that you probably gained from that are huge and like priceless, because you learned first right on hands, right? Oh
But
my god.
I think sometimes we don't realize the benefits of the challenges that we're going through, right? As
Yep.
whether you're in a company or whether you're an entrepreneur, it, like we go through these challenges and we don't see while we're in them that they're actually going to benefit us in the end, right?
Right. Exactly. And that makes complete sense. Well, very cool. Okay. So that's how you got started, and you started your business model based on helping people create this consistency. I would probably interpret it as. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's really about we call it red thread leadership, as I mentioned, and it's
Yep.
about starting with your purpose. Why do you do what you do? How do you deliver on that? And then what can others expect from you? And we do this at an individual level. So for your personal why, right?
Yep.
Why do you personally do what you do? How do you deliver on it? And what can others expect?
Yep.
And then we do it at the team level, and then we also do it at the company level. And when we do it at the company level, we connect that into purpose. So and from there we do the plan, which would include your vision
Yep.
and your strategy and your goals. And then we continue to take that consistency, as you mentioned, or red thread, as we would call it, into your processes, right? So
Okay.
how are your processes connected to your purpose and your plan? Are you doing the right processes for who you are and where you want to go?
Yep.
So often see organizations, especially as they've been around for a while, maybe they do processes for something that worked for somebody 5 years ago,
Yep.
but they're not really working for where they are today, and empowering the team to be able to say, yeah, let's not do this anymore because this isn't moving us in the direction.
Okay. And that makes sense. And I think a lot of people probably can relate to that a little bit. So understanding what you're doing is, do you and because of the company hires you, so basically you're finding their why as a team. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we enter at different places, right?
Okay.
Sometimes we'll enter with a business owner, an executive who wants to increase their own leadership, right? And
Okay.
so we work on their why, and our process actually could be anybody, right?
Yep.
You don't have to be a business owner or an executive. The process works for everybody to
Yep.
connect with. Maybe you don't know if this is the right career for you or the right job for you, or you're feeling like there might be something more. Understanding your why really helps. We call it your superpower, right? That
Yep.
helps you understand what you can deliver,
Yep.
and and then also what fulfills you and what doesn't fulfill you.
Okay. Okay, so this sound very interesting, okay? Because I think about me and my team. There's probably 18 members on my team, and
Mhm.
we just went through like a bunch of strategy one-on-one meetings with our teams because we want to set off goals for 2024. Yeah, 2024. And, between me and my team leaders, our whole mission was to make sure we talked to people, we heard them, and, we put in a plan that aligns with what their personal goals are with our business goals. Because for us, it's important for the fact of you won't have happy clients, right? If you don't understand and have your team happy. And that's my belief. And then you tell me, Sonya, because we are about, I have some team members on my team who are all about social causes, and they want to work with clients that are about social cause, right? And then we have some team members on our team that are very high level, high tech. They don't want like the little fruity stuff on the bot. They don't care about that. They want the high level because they want to think things through, read articles, and learn more. You know what I mean? Have a more broad perception. So, is this kind of like what you guys do from the outside coming in on a higher level? Is that what you guys are doing?
Yes, absolutely. So the other two parts of Red Thread Leadership, which is a perfect segue, Cat,
Mm.
um, positions, right? So do you have the right people in the right role? How do you hire? How do you know who to hire?
Yep.
How do you know if they're a good fit for your company, right?
Yep.
And then the last one is passion, which we call culture passion, and it's really about exactly what you're saying. Are they passionate about the company, but are
Yep.
they also passionate about their role in the company? And then do they trust each other?
Yep. And so you're singing the songs that I would sing because I'm a big believer in inclusiveness and having your team have buy-in. And you can't have buy-in if you don't understand their purpose, right? And what they personally want and their goals, because otherwise it'd be self-serving, right? I
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if I just imposed my mission on everybody on my team, then it's absolutely one-sided and a little self-serving, which to me doesn't seem very fair because if I work somewhere, I would want someone to listen to me and kind of understand and know, some of the things that I like or that I want to do or I want to be associated to. So I'm assuming that's the same strategy that you guys that you're doing with companies when you work with them, which is, to me, it's huge. It's profound. It shows that, hey, A, I care about my team, right? I want everybody to be heard. And then B, we need to make sure that whatever it is that your purpose, your mission, your goal is aligns with ours. And how do we get that together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the traps that a lot of leaders fall into is
Mhm.
that they think they need to be on board, right?
Yeah,
So is there the clearer you are, so I say clarity polarizes, right? So the
okay.
clearer you are, the more people know if they're in or they're out. And if they're out, that's okay. Let them go, right?
Yep.
They're gonna be more fulfilled somewhere else. And if you look at it like you're holding them back from them being fulfilled by trying to get their buy-in and get them to follow you, right? It's not engaging or enrolling them. And we look at culture, like in three different areas, right? So there might be exactly what you're saying, sort of that self-service, do what I say
Yep.
way of leadership, right? And you get compliance when you do that. So, could be out of fear, could be out of just making sure that they're following enough to get fired, not to get fired, right? They're going to comply.
Yep.
And then you have a little bit more where you're exactly what you're talking about, where you're talking to them, you're getting their feedback, and that's engagement, right? So
Yep.
that's another aspect of leadership. What we do is we take that to the next level. We help people understand what really fulfills them and their why. So some people will say, "Oh, my why is my family," or "My why is my faith."
Yep.
Or why is, I want to change the world, right? So we call those your what and your who, not your why. So your why is how you operate, what really fulfills you in the work that you do. Most people don't know it because it's sitting in the part of the brain that doesn't have language,
Yep.
but it's also the part of the brain that makes decisions, right?
Yeah.
So we work with organizations to help them understand that about each member of the team and help each member of the team understand that about themselves. Then we can take it to the next level of leadership, which is about passion. Right? When I'm really feeling fulfilled about what I'm doing and and connecting to my why, my how and my what, I will come up with ideas
Yep.
that nobody would have even thought of, right? So as the leader of the team, it's not all on your shoulders. Suddenly they're coming up with ideas to help you grow exponentially beyond what you even thought was possible.
Yeah. I would agree wholeheartedly. I also believe it adds a little element of skin in the game. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes.
Anytime someone can have skin in the game, they're going to elevate because a little piece of them was included in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you think about purpose in our personal lives, right? Like I
Mhm.
think a lot of people are going through maybe a lot of anxiety and stress right now. Burnout is on the rise. So how do you break through all of that, right? It's through purpose, and purpose in our personal lives might look like, I don't know, we get a new house or we're getting married or we're having a child. We know the purpose behind that. Those are three very stressful events.
Yep.
But we break through all of that because we can see what's on the other side, and we're willing to go through all of those challenges because we can see what's on the other side. And you can do that in your business too,
Yep.
right? To say, like, okay, when you're connected to that purpose, you can break through challenges easier. You're reducing stress and burnout in the organization, which then makes you more productive.
Absolutely. I remember when I worked for corporate America and I was with the ABC, CBS, the Telemundos of the world, and we would do sales retreats. And part of my sales retreats, what would be is understanding and knowing what each individual salesperson's personal goals were. And it's exactly like you said, Sonia. It is, is your personal goal to get married or go on a vacation or, build a house or buy a house or, buy a new car. I don't know. Everybody has a different thing, right? A goal that they go after every year. And sometimes it's very, very minor and simple. And sometimes it's a little overly complicated and big. And each person is very, very different. I think the cool thing is when a company can address that and align with it, right? so that we
Mhm.
help them achieve those goals. And what better way than to again go through the whole strategy of my why, my purpose, why do I want these things, or what am I going to do when I achieve these things, or what am I going to do if I don't achieve these things, right? And those it's a very helpful exercise, I think.
Yeah,
And
I love that. That there's brilliance in it because you're drawing them to what they want personally, taking in their heart, right? To
mhm,
say, what is it that you want? Now, how do we create a plan for your company goals to be able to get that, especially in sales, right?
yep,
So, like, what kind of targets do we need to set for you to have a house,
yep,
right?
yep.
Right?
Nope, and that's exactly what my motive was to find out personally what were they striving for, and you're exactly right. A lot of salespeople, it is money related, and they're going after, and they go into sales for a reason because they know that they can create their own destiny. They can make as much money as they want, and or they just like the freedom, right? They just like the freedom and to create their own hours and schedule. And if it's as small as that, then that's great too. It's not to say it's not. Those are easy to work with, right? Although, Sonya, I'm sure you've seen or heard this, okay? Although corporate America sometimes will say, no, we're not going to let you be flexible with your schedule. You know what I mean? Like corporate America will interject and put a halt to all that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we've seen this a lot in the past year where there
Hmm.
were a lot of companies that said, oh, you can work from home or we can be hybrid. We're lots of flexibility. Some of my big clients did the same. We're like, oh, we're all about flexibility. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, 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 you need to come back to the office. And the conversations that I've been having with clients at that level is why, right? Like, if what's the purpose of them coming back into the office? I get if you need more, if you're seeing that there's less productivity
Hmm.
or there needs to be more collaboration, coming back into the office isn't the solution necessarily, right? So I had clients saying, oh, we're coming back into the office, but everyone's still on their headsets on online meetings, right? So what's the point of being back in the office? And then the team starts to get disengaged because they don't want to be in the office and they don't see a reason to be in the office if everyone's just on their headsets.
Yes. I can't tell you how many people, and again, I come from the sales world, the sales arena. I can't tell you how many peers that reached back out to me and said, uh, s- you know, this company is making us come back in. I don't understand it, and I'm going to quit. One simple little thing, right? One simple little thing. And yet now they don't understand why they can't hire anyone. Well, you just
Yeah.
lost probably all your A players because you weren't flexible, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I see big companies do this as well, right? Where they even small companies maybe do it, where they say, "Oh, we're gonna put these policies in place because we have a percentage of people that are not doing what we want or not as engaged as we want." And they think that they're going maybe to entice some people to leave, but it's generally not the people you want to leave you.
Right.
Right? Right? So
Exactly. No, you're exactly right, Tanya. Exactly right. And from my perspective, because we did have an office, we did close the office. Okay. And so now I have 18 virtual remote people, right? I will tell you that we're more productive, more efficient virtually than I ever was in the office. There was a lot of water cooler talk.
Mhm.
And that I think drove me more nuts than me knowing I have a virtual team and they do check in with me, but I don't need to like micromanage them. Does that make sense? Like
Yes,
I
absolutely, and my company's always been virtual. I made
Mhm.
that decision from day 1, and it was interesting in the first few years. So I started the company in 2007, right? So
Yep.
the first few years, I was attracting a lot of women,
Yep.
and one of my consultants actually said, there's so much flexibility in the way that you lead us that of course more women are coming because they're able to go to a game with their kids or, something and come back and work later. If they want to work more at night, they can do that, right? So I think the issue is that a lot of leaders don't know how to manage a
Yep.
virtual team, right?
Yep.
So yes, there absolutely is a loss of personal connection and collaboration when you're not in person. If you're not creating it, you have to be intentional, right?
Yeah.
So when you have an office, maybe you come in the morning and you're getting coffee and you're saying, "Hello." My team does that on chat, right? So everybody comes in, they say hello. Yeah, on Monday, how was your weekend? What did you do? Like all the same chatter that you would have in an office, but like you said, it's much faster. It doesn't take 15 minutes, it takes 2, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing in a meeting, right? Like maybe if you were in person, you come into a conference room and everybody's gathering and they're checking in with each other. Just for a couple of minutes at the beginning of a meeting online to do that, right? So
Yeah.
that you have that connection. But usually what most people do is that they come on to an online meeting and they get right to business, right to work,
Yep.
and there's no connection. Then of course you don't have that collaboration or people getting to know each other because you're not creating the space for it.
Absolutely. And I just have to say one more thing because this is in my backyard, in my arena. And a lot of it is the companies I used to work with. And, because they're old legacy media companies and they've done it this way forever, right? They've always done it this way. And people come in, to me, the most productive person is the person that can create their own schedule and they can be held accountable as an adult, right? They don't need to be micromanaged. They don't need to be babysat. They don't need me to see over my desk and I see them. They're here. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I just think it's a little insulting because people are adults and especially in the sales arena. And this is probably more to the people that I know that if you're a media manager or whatever, and you still have these old fashioned, you got to check in and you got to check out at the end, 5 o'clock, check in at 9, check out at 5. What's the purpose? If they're productive, right? It's all
Yeah.
about trusting them, period.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to that first level of leadership that I talked about,
Yep.
compliance, right?
Yep.
That's what you're trying to do. And there might be people who that's required for to get them to do what they need to do. And if that's the case, they're not connected to your purpose,
Nope.
right?
I agree.
So if they require that micromanaging, if they required you to stay on top of them, then they don't have that intrinsic motivation to
Yep.
really connect to your purpose and your vision and make it happen. And that might be your fault. Or it might be that they're just not the right fit. That's not what motivates them. And again, that's okay. Let them go.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, this goes to your third point, by the way. Okay. At the end of the day, what you're trying to do is just make sure everybody's in alignment and that the company's vision, the company's purpose, the company's mission aligns with what each individual person so that it's all effective. It's all good. We all want to be here, right? It's a rah. It's a, we're aligned now. Am I right, Sonya? Am I in the right direction?
100%. 100%. Yeah, I think it is that alignment is critical. And it doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean falling in line.
Yep.
It means we're all moving in the same direction.
Yep.
We're all excited about where we're going, and I can see my part of it. You can see your part of it, and we're making it happen, and we're coming up with ideas to how to make it happen better or faster because we're excited about it.
Yeah. And then, at the end of the day, there are still people that want to go to the office, and those are great. And maybe they should have that role where they go to the office, because there are people. And, I always think it's funny because before the whole COVID experience, there was the huge, everybody wants to be like Google, everybody wants to be like Facebook, where everybody comes in and they sit on the floor and they have free coffee and they have snacks, right? And I'm sure they had remote workers, I'm sure. But now everybody's like, oh, we're going to put our foot down. Nobody's going to work remote. We want everybody in the office. Like, why? You were all trying to be all all about the employees before. What made that change? Do you know what I mean, Sonya?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think that kind of the trajectory that I've seen
Yeah.
is that with the Great Resignation, there was this awakening with companies to say, "Oh, we don't have all the power.
Right.
They have some power too." And then as we have this issues with the economy, we're seeing in the news companies doing layoffs, that those same companies are going, "Oh, wait a minute, maybe we do have the power. Let's try to take it back." Right? And exactly what you were saying, that, okay, you take it back. What's the cost
Yep.
to the best people, your A players?
Yep.
Is it worth it, right? And do people, it's like you said, there might be a reason to come into the office. I have clients, they were in the office the whole time because of the type of work they do, and they had to be, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
and that's okay, right? But it's looking at what's the purpose behind it, and do people understand why? If they see it's just because of you're controlling and wanting to be micromanaging them, they're not going to stay.
Right. Right. And these are great. These are great words of wisdom. Okay. So, is there a way for a company to kind of do a self check or kind of understand where they are if they are a little misaligned?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, so there's one that's a simple one that I do when I first start working with organizations, just to kind of see where they are,
Yep.
is I ask 5 people randomly, what's the purpose and vision of the company?
Okay.
And if they don't know, that tells me they're not aligned. If they say something memorized,
Okay.
that tells me that they're maybe engaged, but not passionate.
Yep.
And if they say it in their own words, and they light up, and they talk about what they're doing about it, and they're excited about sharing, then I know they have passion in that company. So that's
Okay.
something that a leader could do very quickly to say, just what do you think the purpose of our company is? And where do you think we're going? And just see what happens.
Now, do you think though sometimes employees answer what they think that you want to hear though? Do you think?
Maybe. But I haven't seen that. I can tell you I've done this with hundreds of companies, and
Mhm.
in all of them, there's only been one that I felt with before working with us had it. And
Yeah.
it was a school district, and they knew exactly what their purpose was. Their purpose is a little easy, I must
Yep.
admit.
Yep.
Right? But they knew the vision of where this district was going, and everybody said it differently. They said it in their own words. They were excited about it. That's the only time I've ever seen it, right?
Oh, so you're saying most times they don't know the mission or the okay.
Yeah. They
Okay.
don't know, or if they know, like you're saying, if they're saying what you wanna hear, they're gonna repeat what's on the PowerPoint slide.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
right, like they have it memorized, and you have engagement there, but it's not passion.
Got you. No, that's great. That's good to know. Because a lot of times I feel like sometimes employees want to make you happy and say things that are gonna, make them look good in your eyes or whatever, and I'm always all about, and we've done like blanket surveys, we personally to our employees, where we're like, hey, fill this out, let us know how we're doing. You're not going to be exposed. The only way you're going to be exposed is if you expose yourself, if you want to, some people do, some people don't. And go ahead.
And that is something, if somebody wants help, like, to
Yep.
see, then the example I gave is something you can do on your own,
Yep.
but we also do what's called an employee passion survey. So
Okay.
we can me and that what that measures is the level of passion that each person has for the company, their level of passion that they have for their role in the company, and then their level of trust, both for the company and with each other, that all the people that they work with.
Yeah. And that's great. And again, I mean, I can see the benefit. The payoff is you get happy clients. I mean, it really does have a rolling effect. I'm a big believer that, your corporate culture, the look and feel of your company is really from the top down. And if the top of the people don't, if they have an I don't give a shit attitude, you know what I mean? Like your
Yeah.
people will have an I don't give a shit attitude. If the top people are very caring and very inclusive, then your people will be caring and inclusive. If your top people are over communicators, then everybody, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that I was taught this in sales, how you talk to people, they'll talk back to you, but talk to them like they talk to you so that you guys can relate and connect, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also important to walk your talk, right? It's not enough
Mhm.
to say this is what the culture is and this is what I expect from you and these are the values we uphold,
Yep.
but it really is making sure that you're taking action on that. Um,
Mhm.
because if you're not, and I say every leader has their own personal paparazzi that follows them around, and that's their team watching. We're watching for anything that's out of alignment. If what you say and do are different,
Yep.
not only do they see it, they tell everybody immediately.
And that's a great thing, right? I mean, if it's positive, it's a good thing for
Yeah.
sure, you know? And I also feel like your clients can feel it, you know, when your team is engaged, when they're feeling great about who they work with and the mission and the vision, I believe that that can be felt. Like that's a transfer of energy, of positive energy, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
awesome. Okay, so how do people connect to you, Sonya?
Yeah, so the best way is to come to our website, executiveleader.com. It's a one-stop shop. So there you'll have
I'm
links
glad
to
I
our
have it.
social media. You'll have lots of free resources. We have webinars on there. You can learn more about your why and how to get your why. And we have a free webinar on there on Red Thread Leadership.
Okay,
And
great.
so if you want to do a deeper dive on what it is and how companies do it well, some
Yep.
examples of what they've done, that's also free.
Okay, awesome. And then, is there a particular side? Can you give people a framework of the types of business you've worked with or work with?
Yeah, so we work every size of business from startups to Fortune 100 companies.
Mhm.
The Where we really shine is with fast-growing companies, companies who
Okay.
really wanna work fast or what really wanna grow fast. They wanna change, they know they need to change, but maybe they don't know how.
Yep.
And they wanna create a winning strategy and a passionate culture to make that happen.
Okay. Have you worked with I'm also a business broker. I don't know if you know this. Have you worked with companies that do roll-ups that buy out other companies and then they have to like align themselves with all these other people that they rolled up into? You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. That's actually, one of the first projects I did when I started the company, and what sort of came in at the beginning was a lot of M&A work, right?
Okay.
So how do they when you have 2 companies coming together, how do you create that common purpose,
Yep.
right? Because you want both to feel respected in the process, and you need really fast alignment if you wanna make the best of this coming together, right? There's a reason why you bought the company or a reason why you merged, and if you wanna realize those benefits as fast as possible, but if you don't have your people aligned, it
Yep.
takes a really long time.
Oh, no, absolutely. And a lot of times when, roll-ups or merges happen, a lot of times, the smaller or the weaker company, they feel like they're left out or their job is like, "Ah, I think they're gonna fire me," or whatever. So it's very, very important. It's great to know that you have worked with M&As and, the mergers and things like that because I can see the value there as well, you know,
Yes,
for sure.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else you wanna share while we wrap this up, Sonya?
Yeah, I would say I will leave you with, really connecting to why you do what you do. Because I think when, whatever you do for a living, whether you're an employee, whether you're a business owner, whether you're an executive in a company, how you feel at work impacts your whole life, and that's my why. That's why I do what I do, is to have a bigger impact, and to my purpose is really because when we're happy at work, we're happy at home, we're happy in
Yep.
our community, and it makes a difference in the world. So, I encourage your listeners to really do the work to find that why of what fulfills you.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you. I feel like our conversation just went by so fast.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Ah, so thank you. This was very, very valuable. And I'm hoping that a lot of people will tune in and catch this, whether it's later or as we repurpose it again. But I appreciate having you on today. This was great conversation. I love what you're doing. I think it only is going to keep growing and the demand will get bigger because we need to listen to our people, especially if you want to have happy customers. If you want to have happy customers, you've got to get some kind of alignment with people's why, their mission, purpose, and all of that. I sincerely believe that's so important.
Yes, absolutely. It was a pleasure speaking with you today, Kat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And we'll chat soon. Thank you for joining me on my Stand Out and Grow podcast. I appreciate you tuning in and staying with me. If you have any other questions, please drop it in the comment or reach out to me. I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation, or even Sonya. Reach out to Sonya. That was really great information. And again, I'm a huge believer in aligning with my team's purpose, their why, it's important to have a sense of why, or what they want to do. And it aligned with me and my company and what I want to do. And again, I am not about a strong arm and I'm going to force my thing down their throat. I want to find out ways of their strengths and weaknesses on how do we align so that it is purposeful, and it makes sense and it blends very well. So until next time, you got this. And thank you for joining me today.